If you're looking to get into more creative photography, colored lights is something that you definitely need to have in your arsenal. And in today's video, I'll be going over which lights I personally like to use for all of my work. Because if you guys follow me on social media, you'll know that I love to incorporate colors into my photography. You'll be surprised to find out that a lot of the lights I use aren't actually that expensive, which means that you guys can go and pick them up without having to break the bank. Obviously, there are better alternatives to the lights that I use, and they're obviously more expensive, but I'll go into detail on why I haven't upgraded yet and what the pros and cons for using these cheap lights are. Before we go ahead and dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe and like. It really does help this channel grow. While you're at it, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below to help the algorithm push this video to new viewers. And thank you to every single one of you that actually takes the time to do that kind of stuff. I really do appreciate it. We're approaching 4,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane to me, but thank you guys for all the support. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into the video, and let me kind of talk a little bit about why I like to use the cheap lights that I do, and then I'll dive into what lights I actually use. Everything I talk about will be linked down in the description below if you guys want to go ahead and purchase the lights that I have. But before we talk about the lights themselves, let me kind of talk a little bit about why I use the lights that I use and why I don't bother upgrading to more expensive strobes or just more expensive lights in general. The reason I use the gear that I do, meaning all the cheap lights and stuff like that, is because this is the gear that I've had for my entire journey, and so far it's been doing me pretty well, and I haven't really found any reason to upgrade. I don't shoot in super professional environments where I need to have super color accurate lighting, where I need to have a CRI of 99.999%. You know, I don't do those kind of photos. So going out and spending a lot of money for these really expensive lights just really doesn't make sense for me and my workflow. A lot of the lights that I have, I actually had before I even got into photography. They were just decorative lights in my room, and I found out that these lights can actually be very useful for photography, and I'll kind of show you guys which lights I'm talking about in a little bit. But a lot of the lights that I use were really cheap, and a lot of lights that I actually have I got from Amazon. Let's go ahead and dive right into this, and let me talk about the first light that I have, which is the LED light bulbs that I like to use. Now granted, I don't actually use these as much as I used to. I used to use these a lot more because they were the only lights that I had that were colored, and these are essentially just smart LEDs. These are basically little light bulbs that you can plug into any outlet, and they're Wi-Fi controlled, which means that you can control them from your smartphone. And the reason I really like these is because they're pretty good at reproducing color. They produce most colors very well, except for like the yellows. The yellows kind of always shift towards like a green tint, so you'll never really get true yellow with these, which kind of sucks, but I don't really use yellow that much anyways, so that's not much of a problem for me, but keep that in mind. These are essentially knockoff Philips hues, and they're only 20 bucks. And when you buy them, they usually come in packs of like 2 to 4. Obviously they're gonna, price range differs on depending on what like brand you get. They're essentially all just Chinese knockoffs, and they do essentially the same thing. The only con to these lights is they don't get very bright. These knockoffs just aren't very powerful whatsoever. Some are more powerful than others, but at the end of the day, they're not going to get super bright. They're not going to light up an entire room, and I mainly use these just as like fill lights, little color fill lights, or maybe like hairline lights, and that's about it. But they are still pretty nice little lights, and if you don't have a pair of these or a couple of these lying around, I highly suggest you guys get some, because you never know when they might come in handy. Those were the first lights I got, and I used those for quite a while. That's kind of what I used for my red lighting for a long time. The only problem with them is by themselves they're not very bright, so I had to group them up into like 3 or 4 for them to even be bright enough for me to use, which led me to look elsewhere for red light, and I stumbled across another light on Amazon. Light I am talking about is the red light that you guys see me use in a bunch of my photos. This is probably my most asked question on what light I use, because this light is super cheap. It's $20. You get a pack of 2, and it's essentially like an outdoor floodlight. I'll go ahead and pick it up and show you guys. So this light bulb, again, is basically just a floodlight with a red tint to it, and the reason I like using these is because these are super bright. So the brand is Blue X lights. I don't know. Again, will be linked in the description. Got it on Amazon, got it in a pack of 2, and they are just ridiculously bright. They are very power efficient. They don't get super hot, which is awesome. And I mean, I don't have any negative things to say about them. They provide really good colors. They have more than just red. They have like blues and greens and stuff like that. So in my opinion, they're probably some of the best cheap lights you can get if you want to get colored lighting, because they're not going to break the bank, and they're going to allow you to have really bright lights. The only problem with them is I don't think they're dimmable. They might be dimmable. I didn't actually read the entire description, but I mean, even if they aren't, not that much of a deal breaker, because I usually just use it for fill light anyways. So that's the red light I always use, and that's one of my most asked questions. I highly recommend this light for everyone because, again, only 20 bucks, you get 2 of them, and you'll get some really good bright red lighting. Let's move on to my next lights, which are probably one of the best bang for buck deal that you can get because they come with a stand, they come with barn doors, they come with everything. The light I'm talking about is this light. It is super, super convenient to have barn doors because with barn doors, you can shape the light. Now these lights are very, very cheap. Again, they're $50 on Amazon, and you get 2 of these, you get 2 stands, you get 2 barn doors, you get 2 light bulbs. And like, I mean, honestly, for $50, I think this is one of the best deals I've ever had because I use these lights on every single photo shoot. I don't remember the last time I didn't use these in a photo shoot. They're really good for shaping the light. If you guys don't use barn doors, I highly suggest learning how to use them because with barn doors, you'll be able to change what part of the model is being lit. You'll be able to change how the light is hitting the model. You'll be able to do so much than just having a normal light bulb. These come with everything that you need for literally $50, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, these come with standard light bulbs. I think you can choose what Kelvin light bulb comes with it, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't like it, you can just switch out the light bulb for another light bulb. And these pair really well with basically any light that you have. So I've put in my LED lights on one and then had just the other white light on the other, and have been able to use both of them. It makes some really, really good images. Obviously, the CRI on these and any of the lights I'm talking about aren't phenomenal, so I probably wouldn't suggest these for video. But you know, this isn't a video centric channel, this is a photography channel, so these will basically do anything you need to for photos. So the last cheap light that I'm going to be talking about is this little bad boy. It is essentially like a knockoff aperture light, one of those like little portable ones, except this one's only 60 bucks, and for 60 bucks, I think it's an absolute steal. It's a really, really good light. It has a bunch of different colors. It has white light. It has, you know, you can change the color temperature. You can change it from the whole RGB spectrum. This is a video centric light first, so it has dynamic lighting modes where it kind of mimics different things. It has like a strobe. It has basically everything you can think of, and it's only 60 bucks, which you really can't go wrong with. It comes with a mount that you can mount onto your camera, or you can mount onto a tripod, and it comes with diffusers. And again, for 60 bucks, absolutely cannot go wrong with it. I'll be doing an entire review video on this LED light because I don't really shoot outside too much, but now that I have this in my arsenal, it encourages me to be more open to shooting outside later at night because it's a lot more portable, and for how little it is, it's actually really, really bright. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what lights I actually use. And if you guys want any of them, go ahead and pick them up for yourselves. Links will be in the description below. Everything I talked about will be in the description below, as well as the rest of my gear list for those of you who are wondering. If you don't already follow me on social media, make sure to follow me on social media at Moody Darkroom. All of my social media is this: my Twitter, my Pinterest, my Instagram, TikTok, everything. I have secured that username on most platforms. So if you guys like my work, make sure to follow me on all my social media, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. I am trying to stick to 1 video a week, which has been going pretty well. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And I will see you guys in next week's video. See ya.